You're listening to the What the Wrestling Podcast, the show that brings you all things wrestling with your host, RJD.
Let's go! You already know what time it is. Yes. Tis I, RJD here. Welcome to What the Wrestling. What's going on, everybody? This is your AEW Dynamite review. I got a lot on my mind. I got a lot I want to get into. I got a lot to talk about. It is cold. I got the heater on. So now I'm good. But before all of that, you already know, hit the goddamn like button. Like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel What the Wrestling that you saw in the beginning of the show. And please, HBO, help a brother out. Likes cost you nothing. They are free. Rock with your boy. Now, with that being said, let's talk about AEW. As I sit here and sip my very dope cup, I have a lot to say about this. Coffee, gotta love it. All right, AEW last night. Let's talk about the obvious. Rest in peace, Jay Briscoe. Yesterday would have been his 39th birthday. And yesterday we saw Mark Briscoe take on Jay Lethal in the main event of the evening. Let's first things first. I want to give a shout out to Tony Khan. TK must have went in to Warner Media Discovery and fought like hell because they obviously did not want the Briscoes on AEW TV. They did not want them on Warner Media Discovery TV at all. And for those of you who think that, it wasn't that serious, Tony Khan held the Briscoes off AEW for his own personal reasons, bullshit.
You stupid.
Let's not be stupid here. Tony Khan would have had the Briscoes signed to AEW a long time ago if he could have. But he could not. And I talked about this last week with the news, but we'll talk about it again. He could not because Jay Briscoe made some tweets over 10 years ago that were definitely not good. And he has since apologized for it many times over. And because of those tweets, and we ain't going to sit here and deep dive into it. You guys already know. If you don't know, Google it. Or go back and check my old videos out from last week. We talked about it. Warner Media Discovery, one of the higher-ups or influencers in the company, said, no, F that. Don't want them here. Don't want them on TV. Don't care. You're not putting them on. And because of that, they would not allow the Briscoes to be on AEW, so TK went a roundabout way, signed them to Ring of Honor. Now, they've had matches with FTR. They've had matches with the Bucks. Do you think he wouldn't have put the Briscoes on TV on AEW TV if he had a choice? He couldn't do it. But yesterday, we saw Mark Briscoe in the main event because TK, whether it was social media pressure, whether it was TK going hard, or a combination of both, he was able to get Mark Briscoe on AEW TV to have that tribute match with Jay Lethal for his brother, Jay Briscoe. So we want to shout out TK for that because whatever he had to say, whatever he had to do, he got it done, and I appreciate that. Let's talk about Warner Media Discovery. Saw a lot of people tweeting. A lot of people were angry at them because it's like F y'all. He apologized for those tweets. But yet you got Dana White all over Warner Media Discovery, and he just did something wrong. And he apologized. All is forgiven. Somebody does something 10 years ago, over 10 years ago, apologizes numerous times, educates himself, gets better. He is better. Makes amends, and you still won't put him on for some shit that happened years ago. It's comical. A lot of people got mad at them. F Warner Media, F this, F that. Perfectly understandable. I was angry as well because I was like, that's bullshit. Because I'm tired of the society we live in right now. I'm tired of people holding grudges against people for shit that they did, for tweets that they put out, for Facebook posts they put out, for Instagram posts they put out 10 years ago. Nobody is the same person that they were 10 years ago. And if you dig into anybody's freaking closet, they did something or said something or offended somebody to the point where they could have been held responsible for it. But for some reason, other people, it gets slid under the rug, and other people, they want to go back and dig up dirt for some shit that they already apologized for. I think it's nonsense, but that's just me. But Warner Media Discovery did the right thing, because at the end of the day, they could have said, no, F that. We still not doing it. We don't care. But they did it. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. There is a small part of me that's like, get the fuck out of here! Why did this brother have to pass away for him to finally be on AEW TV? Why did this brother have to? Why did Mark Briscoe finally get his chance to shine, but he has to shine without his brother? They could have been on AEW TV. They could have been had the spotlight. They could have been did all this. Too little, too late. But at the end of the day,
nope.
I had to check my emotions. The fact is, it wasn't about that. If What If was a fifth, we'd all be drunk. So I had to check my emotions, and I had to be like, you know what? It happened. He got the proper send-off for the fans, for himself. Maybe it was therapeutic for Mark Briscoe. A lot of people are emotional about this in that locker room. I'm sure a lot of people knew Jay Briscoe. A lot of people well respected all across every freaking promotion from WWE all the way to New Japan. So a lot of people recognized and understood the moment last night, and I had to check my emotions. Like, nope, not about that. Better late than ever, but we got it. And as fans, we should have got this shit last week. Even though it was still so fresh, it was still so new, everybody was effed up, you know what I'm saying? It was like, bam, and then the next day was Dynamite. It was crazy. Or Monday, and then the next day was Dynamite. It was crazy. So it's like, you got to check your emotions and fight. You can't fight every battle. You got to pick and choose your battles. And the fact of the matter is, Warner Media Discovery put that main event on and allowed TK to do what he does. Shout out to TK for every time it's a stressful situation, every time it's an unfortunate situation like this, whether it be Brody Lee, whether it be Jay Briscoe, TK does what he has to do, and he holds true to that family-orientated structure that he has in AEW, and he comes through every time. He's like, nope, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that, we're gonna honor them, and we're gonna honor them the best way we know how, and we will grieve together as a community, because when somebody passes away, like a Mark Briscoe, like a Brody Lee, or anyone, being a part of the wrestling community, somebody who loves pro wrestling, you cannot. This community, it may seem loud on Twitter, but this community ain't that big. And when somebody passes away in this community, it's like, damn. Like, especially if you've seen them perform, if they've entertained you, people have wrestled with these people. I know people that have wrestled with one of the Briscoes. I know people that was in the house that talked to this man, that seen this man perform live. And it is especially in the way that he left this earth, Rough, man. Rough. So I gotta applaud Warner Media Discovery for that. This was needed. This was, I don't want to be insensitive with my words, but this was almost therapeutic. This was something that us as fans, we needed. I know people that was like watching Dynamite, watching SmackDown, and they just didn't feel right. It's just like, I don't know what it is about us wrestling fans or in the wrestling community. It's just like when something happens or something like this happens, it's like, God damn. Like, it's like, especially with all the circumstances and clouds around the Briscoes and why they couldn't get on AEW. When something happens like this, it's like, God damn it. Why? Like, what the hell is going on here? Why couldn't shit just be right? Like this, and your mind starts going like this, and you start just thinking about a lot of stuff, and it's just like, I'm glad this happened. They're gonna bury the man in 3 days. What that family must be going through. From what I'm hearing, his little girls are doing better. They got a long road ahead of them. No one's gonna kid themselves. They got a long road ahead of them. Say a prayer. God bless his wife, for she got to stay strong for them kids and for herself after she just lost her husband, the man of the house, the leader of the house. And now she's got to stay strong and for those children and nurse them back to health is, man, I could only fucking imagine. Like, for real. But word is they're doing better, and that is fantastic news. I guess a little bit of positivity in all of this negativity surrounding Jay Briscoe. But we had to get that out the way first. Shout out to them. Shout out to everybody who made that happen yesterday. I was shocked when I saw the tweet. Man, I saw that tweet. I was like,
Nope.
get the fuck out of here! Get out of here. I was like, I'm in a group chat, and I'm just like, you shitting me? That's happening? And to see everybody come out there, people holding back, freaking people all choked up, holding back tears, grown-ass men sitting up there just trying to just hold it in. It's rough to see, but I'm glad us as fans and even Mark got to just pay tribute to his brother and pay tribute to Jay Briscoe. That right there is worth it. I'm glad they was able to do that. For real. So, even though all the negativity swirling around what was going on, they made it happen, and I'm grateful. Now, let's talk about Dynamite. As we slowly continue to see what's going on here. So, first things first, we had Action Andretti and Absolute Ricky Starks versus Les Sex Gods, Chris Jericho and Sammy Guevara. Andretti and Guevara looked real good here. There was a Rochambeau to Jericho on the outside, but while Action Andretti was about to get the one up, the referee was distracted. Mr. Daniel Garcia got up on the apron and totally kabonged Mr. Action Andretti in the face with the bat. Mr. Floyd and the GTH from Sammy Guevara, and they get the win. Les Sex Gods get the win. Now, they really needed a win here. They've been losing a lot. Jericho has, especially got two losses back to back. So they needed a win here, and they got it. So if you're going to keep this feud going, can't just have Jericho taking L's every goddamn day. So good for them. Coffee. Gotta love it. Good for them. They got a win. Much needed. Then we got a video package of the late, great Jay Briscoe. Most of it was personal home video. This brother was a family man to the 100th power. all they did was show all everybody ever said about this guy for the past week and a half is he was a family man. 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 And that brother loved his family. I believe he had 3 wonderful kids, 2 girls and a boy. He loved his family. They showed his daughter, I guess, had a cheerleading thing, and he was practicing with her. It's like awesome stuff, man. You see that stuff, and it warms your heart, but it also makes you very, very sad because you know he's no longer here, and there are just people all over Twitter, men, women, just tearing up, people in the crowd tearing up. So, craziness. Just awesome video package. Then we have Buddy Matthews versus Darby Allin for the TNT Championship. Let's stop the show. Stop the show. Buddy Matthews. Buddy Matthews is fantastic. Why, oh why, is this brother not on TV? Now listen, I know you would be like, listen, but everybody's fantastic, Sean. Everybody's good. All of these wrestlers are great. Why, so what? We don't see him on TV like that. No, stop the cap.
Nope.
We don't want to hear that.
Stop the cap.
We don't want to hear that. Buddy Matthews, the whole House of Black. Hopefully they get in this trio stuff soon. These brothers are exceptional. How did WWE manage to fuck every time I see like him or Pac or Miro, the Redeemer. Every time I see any of these guys, I'm like, how did WWE not know how to use these guys? I mean, I know Triple H would, but how did Vince not see anything in this guy? This guy is fantastic. So midway through the match, lights go out. They come back on. Brody King and Malachi are on the ramp. But Ortiz comes down and whacks home runs Brody King in the back. And then they start fighting. Him and Malachi Black, they go back at it, back and forth. After the commercial break, we got a Meteora. And they continue. We got a Meteora onto the apron. That was brutal. And then they continued to fight. The end came where there was an avalanche DDT, but it got inverted into a Scorpion Death Drop. It looked a little awkward, but it was a Scorpion Death Drop that from the top rope. Buddy Matthews got caught up on the ropes after a near fall 2 count, and we had the coffin drop onto Buddy Matthews' back, and that was all she wrote after he was draped over the rope. He retained his title. After the match, Samoa Joe basically came up and said, I got the next fight, and I'm coming to kill you, and I'm Samoa Joe, and I'm going to beat your ass. So I fully expect Samoa Joe and Darby Allin to be another banger, and I fully expect Wardlow to come back and cost Joe that title so that Wardlow can get his revenge on Joe after cutting his ponytail. But we haven't seen Wardlow in so long. By the time we see him, his freaking hair might have grown back already. He might have the baby ponytail by the time he comes back. So that also happened. We had Jungle Hook out there, Hook and Jungle Boy, versus The Firm, All Ego, Ethan Page and Matt Hardy. Matt Hardy came out first, and he had his video, he had his song playing. All Ego said, nah, fam. We're not doing that.
Stop the cap.
It's my firm, my music, so play my music.
Respect my authority!
And so they did. This was a fairly quick match. The end came where Hook grabbed Matt Hardy off of the apron because he was trying to. Ethan Page got caught in the snare trap. Hook grabbed him off the apron. So Ethan Page had nowhere to go, nowhere to run, no one to tag to, and he ended up tapping out. Solid match here by these guys. All good. Then we had the Acclaimed and Daddy Ass in Family Therapy with the Ass Boys. Now, I guess they were going for a serious tone here, but this was more along the lines of the middle to me. This wasn't exactly serious, but it wasn't exactly OD funny. Even though Bowen said, I think you guys are the biggest pieces of shit I've ever seen. I was like, okay, Bowens, we see you. Perfect. But the Ass Boys basically complained, saying that, well, listen, you weren't there, Daddy, you weren't there. After Daddy Ass said, why are you guys so entitled? And I'm not going to lie, I was like, damn, I feel bad. Their father was on the road mad long. And Max Caster, I think, said, listen, you guys had the opportunity to make up time for your father. You had the opportunity to make up for lost time. But instead, you betrayed us. We didn't betray you. And they went back and forth talking about their problems. Because remember, these guys were a team at one point. And then I think it was one of the Ass Boys said this. The faults are his failure as a father. Their faults are directly correlated to his failures as a father. That's probably the best line of this whole thing. Perfect. And I don't know if they're going to continue with this or this was it, but it seemed like it wasn't long enough. And then it seemed like they could have just put this in a backstage segment. But I'm not going to sit here and complain. I love both these teams. But if they're going to split Daddy Ass from the Acclaimed, that's stupid.
You stupid.
If they're going to take the tag titles off of the Acclaimed so soon,
Stupid.
that's stupid. I don't think they should. I think it's too soon. The Acclaimed is over as hell, and there's a lot more you could do with the Acclaimed right now. But I do like this feud. Then we had the Hangman, and he basically says he wants to knock Moxley out again in Chicago. And we had Wheeler Yuta come out of nowhere.
Surprise, motherfucker.
And say, listen, why don't you fight me on Friday? Try knocking me out. And he said, challenge accepted. So, with that being said, where's my ding? Challenge accepted. They're going to fight Friday. Moxley in Ohio versus Hangman 3. So, we'll see what happens there. Then we had Brian Cage versus the American Dragon. And this whole match was all about how could Brian Cage hurt Bryan Danielson. MJF didn't care if Brian Cage won or lost. He just wanted him broken, a la the Karate Kid. I just want you to break him. I don't care if you win or lose. Just break him. So, the whole match centered around Danielson's arm when he got powerbombed and basically thrown into the goddamn turnbuckle. Started favoring the shoulder. Excuse me. Jesus. I'm choking over here. Woo. All right, we back? All right, we back. So, threw him into the turnbuckle. Started favoring the shoulder. And then he worked over the shoulder for the whole match, working over his arm. There is always a cool spot that I like to see from Brian Cage when he basically suplexes somebody out of the ring they're outside the ring, he's inside the ring, and he suplexes them from outside of the ring, inside the ring. That will never not be impressive, no matter how many times I see it. Brian Cage is truly the machine. He's a beast. And small side note on Brian Cage. So apparently his contract is coming up soon. Tony Khan rolled over his contract last year, which shocked everybody because everybody was like,
surprise, motherfucker.
You ain't even using Brian Cage and you wrote this contract over? Oh, shit.
How dare you?
So I fully expect Brian Cage to go out there and try and get his money. Go get your bread, man. So hopefully, I think feelers have already been sent out to other promotions such as WWE and stuff to see what would the interest be like in Brian Cage. I can see him in WWE. He's got an awesome physique. He's good in the ring. He could cut a promo. It's not like he can't cut a promo. He's a vet. He knows what he's doing. If you want, you could put him in there with a high flyer. You could put him in there with a muscle guy. It doesn't matter. And hopefully, he gets a lot of money. So we'll see what happens. As for right now, TK got him.
Gotcha, bitch.
So, with that being said, the end came where there was a power bomb into the turnbuckle, then a power bomb on the mat, but Bryan reversed it and basically got a roll-up win. That was great. So he got the win, but after the fact, they beat the hell out. Cage continued to beat the hell out of him, threw him out of the ring. MJF came down. They threw him with the chair on the shoulder, threw him into the damn turnbuckle. That had to suck for real. And he came down, threw him back in the ring. He was about to Pillmanize his arm when Takeshita came down and saved the day. He said Danielson is his hero, and he's got his back, and he stayed true. And he fought off. MJF ran, but he fought off Mr. Brian Cage and hit him with a running knee, and that was all she wrote. After the match, the doctor was back there with Danielson, and Danielson was like, "Can I wrestle? Can I wrestle? I'm wrestling. I don't care what you said. I wrestled 60 minutes on a separated shoulder." So he was very, very upset. And he said, "Listen, MJF, you said you're afraid. You're afraid of being exposed. You're afraid of this. You're afraid of that. And you're afraid of losing your title, which is what you covet the most in this world." He says he'll never let the doctor stop him from wrestling again and storms off. And you know what? I believe him.
Respect my authority!
This just reminds me of when he was talking about when he was in WWE. And he was like, "Yeah, so they asked me if I was okay. And I said, yeah." Meanwhile, I had like a seizure or something. He had like lied to them saying that he was okay, and he definitely was not okay. Because Danielson is a badass, and sometimes you got to protect wrestlers from themselves. But he did not care. So shout out to Bryan Danielson, because there's a little bit of truth in what he said. So we originally had Britt Baker. So I think it was supposed to be a triple threat, Ruby, Tony, and Britt. But Britt was pulled from this match, so it was just Ruby and Tony Storm. They had a good, hard-hitting match. Love these ladies when they just throw those damn elbows at each other's chests. It just looks impactful as hell. And the end result here was Dr. Britt Baker's music hits, and Tony Storm turns around, but Ruby Soho hits her with the No Future, or Destination Unknown. I keep getting those things mixed up. Destination Unknown for the win because of the distraction. We had a little bit of a case of dumb babyface syndrome here, but I guess here it's dumb heel syndrome, not dumb babyface syndrome. You know, music distracts me, so I must turn around, and then I get hit with the other person's finisher, and I lose. Damn it. So Ruby Soho gets the win. Good for her. Dr. Britt Baker with the distraction. Nothing wrong here. So MJF had a promo after this, and he said, hey, he's not the only Jew who had to hide from a man with blue eyes in a locked room. I was like, woo. MJF, MJF, man. That's all I can say. So while the crowd... MJF said he knows Kenosuke Takeshita is very talented inside the ring, but he's a little smooth-brained up top and can't match his tempo. He wants him to be very careful before you get involved in his business again. He said, as for Danielson, the title is what gets him out of bed in the morning, and he knows all of his sins are worth it because this belt turns his catchphrase into a fact. He is better than everyone, and he knows it, and they know it. He knows the real reason, and it's because just like MJF, he has a hole in his soul he's trying to fill, and bad things happen to people. Bad things happen to people that happen with Max in this company. Just ask the British guy that looks like Ellen DeGeneres. Jesus Christ. Just ask the British guy that looks like Ellen DeGeneres. Physical pain is fleeting, and you don't want him to get into a mental plan because that really leaves a scar. So that's a play on, I'm assuming, Danielson, because he had like lesions on his brain back in the day when he had to retire for a couple of years. In interviews, he said he had like a lesion or something. Lesion is basically a cut on your brain. So we know Danielson had a couple of concussions and stuff. So I'm assuming he's playing off of that. And Tony Khan opened up an open contract. So Max has made a call to a man who gets off dismantling people limb from limb. And it's been a fun ride, but now it's over. And then we got a video package of Timothy Thatcher.
Surprise, motherfucker.
You may remember him from NXT in the Fight Pit, the king of the Fight Pit. I know he had two. I think he had he had two of them. I know one was with Ciampa that I think he lost. But he had two of them. And he is the king of the Fight Pit. And he has a very unique style. It's Zack Sabre Jr.-esque, but if you're not a fan of that style of, slow it down, manipulation, mat wrestling, I don't know what to tell you. These guys, I think both have a style that's going to make this match incredibly interesting to watch. I cannot wait to see it. And that is going to be next week, if I'm not mistaken. So shout out to Timothy Thatcher. He is a beast. Sucks that he got released, but I didn't even try to rhyme there. But that should be fun next week. Then we got the main event of the evening, Jay Lethal versus Mark Briscoe. Jay Lethal came out with Son Jay, and Jay Lethal was in tears right off the bat. Jay Lethal was in tears. Coming down, try to hold it together. And like I said, these guys lost a good friend. Some of these guys have known each other well over 20 years. The Briscoes have been in Ring of Honor forever. I think 20 years. A lot of these guys have wrestled all over the world together. A lot of these guys know each other for years and years. So when you lose a brother like that, camaraderie, that you have great camaraderie with, it's heartbreaking. It sucks. So Jay Lethal had to hold it together. Son Jay Dutt was out there holding it together. Then Mark Briscoe comes out to a huge ovation, brings out both Ring of Honor Tag Team Championship belts. They did have the Ring of Honor guys on commentary as well. I thought that was a nice touch. In the beginning of the match, they give each other a hug. I think they shook hands, hug, and then they got to work. We started off with a chop fest. And then we had some redneck kung fu in there, and hip toss from Lethal into a drop kick. Back and forth we went to the commercial break. I'll pick it up here towards the end. So we had a diving blockbuster onto the floor by Jay. Jay put, well, first we had a diving blockbuster on the floor. Before that, Jay Briscoe had put Mr. Why I keep saying Jay Briscoe? What the hell am I talking about?
You stupid.
Well, let's go by last names. Okay, Lethal put Briscoe onto the table. He got off, ended up hitting him with a blockbuster. Then he put Lethal on the table. Then Briscoe jumped off and hit the Froggy Bow through the table. Holy shit chants ringing wild. He went for the J Driller again, but it got reversed into a lethal injection, but he missed that lethal injection, got hit with a lariat. Then he got up, tried to get him again, hit him with another lariat after Jay tried to reverse it. And then finally, he picks him up with the underhooks and hit him with the J Driller for the win. It is over. Mark Briscoe wins by pinfall via the J Driller. I am no longer calling that move the Toilet Driver 98. Now it's the J Driller. Stamping it. That's what I'm calling it from now on every time I see it. But what else can I say? After the match, a very emotional Jay Lethal walked up the ramp, started giving hugs. Mark Briscoe did a victory lap, held up both titles, looked in the mirror, looked in the camera, said, Jay, I love you. Talked about his kids, well, Jay's kids, and said, love you, love you. Got out of the ring. Held up that iconic, it's going to be iconic, with the the Jay Briscoe, with I think his date of birth and his pass away date, with the picture of him, And then in front of that, you had the whole pretty much AEW locker room. And then you had Mark Briscoe holding up the titles, serenading the fans. And that is how AEW Dynamite went off the air. Honestly, I just want to shout out AEW once again because they did right. They did right. They did right by Jay, and Tony Khan was able to make it happen, and I'm so grateful that he was as a fan because everybody grieves differently, and that brother was well respected, and he deserved to have a match, a show tributed to him. He deserved that. Been in the business a shit long time with his brother, all over the world with his brother, and he's wrestled with all of your favorite wrestlers. So the wrestling community lost a good brother, a family man, a fantastic tag team wrestler, a fantastic wrestler, period. But most importantly, a family lost their father, a family lost their husband. So, well, a wife lost her husband, children lost their father, and a family now is without Jay Briscoe. And that, to me, is the most important thing moving forward that we need to focus on. I know there was some type of fundraiser or something like that, and they way exceeded expectations on it. I don't have the numbers on it right now, but I think the original thing was like 50, 60,000, and I know they're well past that. I think the last time I heard it was 200-something thousand, and then they put out a new T-shirt for Jay, and all proceeds are going straight to the Briscoe family, and that is very, very dope of TK and on behalf of AEW. And like I said, that family, they got a long road of recovery for the children. Mentally, it's going to be a long road for all of them, including his wife. But at least they see how people came to band together and stood true and tried to help out as best they could. And I will end off by saying this. If you have somebody that you want to reach out to, if you have somebody that you love, if you have somebody that you care about, if you have somebody that you've been holding the phone and you want to reach out, but you, at the last minute, don't do it.
Nope.
Reach out. If you got to be, even if you want closure to a situation, maybe somebody is not as close as you used to be with them, but you know their birthday just passed and you want to reach out, but maybe you guys had a bad argument, maybe you just grew apart, maybe you went your way, they went their way, and you want to reach out. If you have that thought in your head, reach out. It don't even got to be crazy. Reach out, say hello. Don't let things wait. Don't let things linger. Don't let things fester. Don't hold things in. Reach out to those people, even if you want to do it and you think, oh, I'm going to look like an asshole doing this, or I'm going to look like a fool. Do it anyway. A, you'll feel better. B, you never know what can happen. I will tell you from experience, me reaching out to a friend rekindled a whole friendship that I had lost in my teens. Reaching out to a friend when I was like 28, 29, 30. And now me and him are closer than we've ever been. That's my bro. If he hears this, he going to know exactly who I'm talking about. And I reached out to him, not even for me. I reached out to him for somebody else. and now we are closer than ever. So our paths came back together. So reach out to the people you love. Tell the people you love them. Let them know, because you just never know. My mom used to always say, here today, gone tomorrow. You just never know. And unfortunately, that is a fact of life. We cannot escape it. We cannot escape it. So With that being said, this is your AEW Dynamite review. It is I, RJD. We are about to be up out of here. Everybody, please stay safe. Hug your loved ones. Do what you got to do. Have fun. Live life. And I'm out of here. Peace.
Dom DeMarco.